This is the first of what is a two-part graduation event. So tonight we have an opportunity to hear teachers talk about individual students, and this is truly one of my favorite traditions at the school. Long predates my time here, and is a wonderful chance to see the relationships that are at the heart of the Hillbrook experience, in particular, the relationships between our extraordinary teachers and these exceptional young people sitting next to me on this stage. Then, of course, tomorrow morning, we'll have the graduation, in which we'll have a chance to come together with the full community, including other students, and a chance to celebrate the full class and formally send them off their way onto many different great high schools in the area. So for tonight, again, the focus is on those relationships. And as what you'll have a chance to hear over the course of tonight are teachers talking about each of these students and sharing the different things that are passions of theirs, sharing the ways that they have grown. And also one of my favorite things is you often hear about the things they've taught us as teachers and as leaders at the school. Like, we learn so much from these kids, and you'll get a glimpse of that tonight as you hear their stories. So for the students, the way this works is the order is random. And so you never know when you're going to get called. When you do get a person will come up and they'll say a name. And at that moment, you're going to stand up, and that's your moment to just be in the sun, so to speak. After the speech, what will happen is you'll come down and you're going to get a rose and a book from the teacher. So with that, I'm going to exit stage right and introduce Eden Maisel.
Okay, here we go. Emery Wood. For those of you who didn't get a chance to see Emery in this year's 8th grade musical, Charlie Brown, then you didn't see her perform Eudora's sassy scene with Woodstock, where she peppers him with a series of self-centered questions in her crabbiness survey. Well, Emery is anything but self-centered and anything but crabby. You can see her smile from a mile away. So Emery, let's take the real personality survey and audience participation encouraged. Number 1, on a scale of 0 to 100, what would we rate Emery's flexibility and agreeability? 100! Number 2, would we describe Emery's leadership skills as advanced, intermediate, basic, or novice? Advanced. Number 3, on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, what would we rate Emery's dance talent? 5, oh yeah, 6 stars. 10. Number 4, using the rating scale of excellent, good, fair, or poor, Emery's loyalty could be best be described as excellent. Emery, with these attributes, you have made a positive impact on this Hillbrook community and the greater Bay Area community. From a young age, you were always caring and conscientious, always eager to help others. Throughout your middle school years, we saw your voice become stronger, literally, like choir solos, and figuratively as you stepped into the Student Council Public Relations Commissioner role this year. Let's not forget that you also served as assistant choreographer in addition to your onstage role in the musical. In the larger community, you commit to service work with National Charity League, and you lead dance classes for younger children at your dance studio. Your warmth, kindness, and approachability pair well with your strong work ethic and perseverance. Who wouldn't want you as a teacher? In summary, I'd like to share an excerpt from Emery's vignette written in English class this year titled, "Full of Power, Full of Feelings." She writes, "A rose is powerful, powerful with thorns like needles, powerful smelling floral like spring, powerful with its intricate beauty. But on the inside, a rose is delicate, just like me, delicate with petals like doves, delicate with soft and sensitive feelings. Emery, just like a rose, you have grown and blossomed here at Hillbrook. Your powerful confidence and your delicate kindness will take you far in high school and beyond."
Dani Arnold, aka Darnold. Dani tends to be very quiet in class, but if you pay close attention, you can see smiles and ripples of laughter rippling around her. And she is a constant source of good humor, often making the days of those around her better with her kindness and her quick wit. Those who know Dani first describe her as funny and kind. She is also very observant and can exude a tangible excitement for learning and for the natural world. Dani joined us here at Hillbrook at the end of her 7th grade year. 7th grade isn't easy for anybody, especially during the upheaval of COVID and especially in a new school. It's a testament to her resilience, her strength, and kindness that she has become such an integral part of this class. Dani is a thoughtful, hardworking student, an excellent writer, and a valued member of our volleyball team. She loves nature and the outdoors, always ready for long hikes or diving into the ocean. She can catch toads. She showed visceral excitement discovering macroinvertebrates during the pond study in the Red Headlands. Dani's thoughtful observations, attention to detail, and willingness to engage with new perspectives are reflected in her talent for photography. She wrote earlier this year that she loves photography because of the ability to see things from other perspectives and the ability to change the relative scale of smaller details. As the photographer Elliot Erwitt said, "To me, photography is the art of observation. I find it has little to do with the things you see and everything to do with the way you see them." Dani added so much to the short time you've been here. We've all benefited from your thoughtfulness and your close observation. You'll be missed.
I'm reading on behalf of Rinku Bhattacharya, who couldn't be here today. And this is a surprise student. You'll know at some point in the speech when to stand up. The skier whirls down, carving his mark on the colossal snow-capped mountain. Where he is today has required grit, willpower, discipline, a growth mindset, and courage. His skis serve as a medium for personal expression, a way to challenge fears and push limits. This is Kyle Cameron Cortez, not only an accomplished competitive skier and skilled mountain biker, but also a student who has made phenomenal strides and carved his mark in his learning journey at Hillbrook by applying the same skills that helped him excel at skiing. Through the years at Hillbrook, he has demonstrated that skiing is like learning. Without focus, you wipe out. If you are hardworking, thoughtful, and strategic, you meet your goals. Many of his teachers will remember his customary email sent on Mondays reminding them that he would be away from school on Friday due to a ski competition, and therefore wanted to know what he needed to complete over the weekend so that he would not fall behind. This self-discipline and accountability amazed us. Kyle always stayed on top of things, no matter how busy or intense his schedule. With support and encouragement from many caring adults, Kyle was entirely successful in and outside of school. Like the skier, he learned to find control by working with, rather than fighting against, the occasional mountain of obstacles, and by doing so, laid the foundation for the resilient person he is today. Kyle will be fondly remembered by several teachers as the kind, earnest, humble student who loves nature and building. He helped build a path and fort across a creek at the 7th and 8th grade retreat. His teachers shared how he worked extra hard in 7th grade and made huge strides. Mr. G remembered Kyle's humility during the mountain biking RBW experience, where he was immensely skilled, but remained humble, patient, and helpful with his peers. Ms. Hand notes that on the 8th grade trip to Marin, when she wanted to see if she could fit in a tire and be rolled upside down across a basketball court, Kyle was the student who volunteered to try it out and whom she trusted not to let her fall. We all know Kyle as a kind, sincere, curious, respectful, hard worker who approaches all he does with heart and integrity. Kyle has lived up to the philosophy that learning is about gaining the skills to face challenges and safely navigate the unforeseen terrain in the journey of life. I wish Kyle the very best as he joins Bellarmine College Prep, and I am confident that the bold skier that he is, he will continue to strive as he faces new, more nuanced challenges. There will be successes and failures, but he will continue to stay focused on his goals and will become more adept through the years. He will continue to prove that, as with skiing, the process of achieving one's goals is lifelong. And when hindrances surface, I am confident that he will get back up and reflect on how to better prepare to face that mountain again.
Hi, everyone. I'm Matt Callahan, and I'm going to be speaking about Kayla Cross. Kaylee joined us this year, but you'd be forgiven for thinking she'd been here forever. It's the cool confidence, the placid exterior, centered. If you take a walk around campus, as I did earlier this week, you might see her in the halls, draped with the arms of friends who love her dearly. You might, as I have a few times, seen her arrive late with a guitar in hand, a polite hello each time. You might see her in class, thoughtfully attending to whatever the teacher or her peers might be saying. You might hear some of her music in the air. In sum, you'd see a student who is well respected and deeply involved in the life of the school community, and all that after just one short year here. But by just looking at the surface, you might not know that there are hidden depths. For almost 8 weeks in our social impact and leadership class, I don't think I ever heard Kaylee speak. Finally, after nearly everyone had shared an initial idea, I cautiously ventured, "Kaylee, would you like to share an idea? No pressure, just want to make sure you have a chance to speak." Which is clearly code for like, it's time for you to speak. Much to my surprise, Kaylee responded with one of the most thoughtful and insightful project proposals I'd heard to that point, all with a cheerful sparkle in her eyes. This was not an isolated experience either. Any adult who has had an interaction with Kaylee has had the same interaction. A naive question from an adult, an impressively well-reasoned, thoughtful response from Kaylee. And it's not just intellectual prowess. Did you know, for example, that Kaylee doesn't just play both electric and acoustic guitar? She also plays flute, ukulele, and piano. Did you know she's a video editor with serious skills? So, as I'm learning more about Kaylee, I'm coming back to the understanding that she's truly centered in a way that Lao Tzu, ancient Chinese philosopher, might admire. He said, "A multitude of words is tiresome, unlike remaining centered." Think about it. Why say a whole bunch of things when others might or might not be listening? Why not just stay centered, let others ask, and then blow their minds? So Kaylee, stay centered. It's been a pleasure getting my mind blown this year.
It is a great pleasure to recognize my friend and great student and athlete, Mr. Devin D. Hi, everyone. I want to start off by giving a quote from one of my heroes and role models, John Wooden. "Success is never final. Failure is never fatal. And it's courage that counts." Devin, you never stop believing in yourself. You always work hard. You consistently leave the past to focus on the present, regardless of prior success or failure. That's why you are so successful on the court, on the snow, and in the classroom. You're going to make a great high school basketball player and student. Every time I see you, I think of that young, cool, old school, swagged out basketball player. You and your parents have been a valuable addition to Hillbrook. When your dad talks about you, he is always smiling ear to ear and so proud of you. After coaching you and teaching you this year, I completely understand his actions and emotions toward you. A kid like you is a true joy. My favorite moment with you this year was when we were playing a home game. You knocked down a three-pointer at Hillbrook, and you looked over at the bench and just smiled. It was a pure Devin D basketball moment. Your joy and love for your teammates is something special to see. Your passion and commitment to increase awareness about climate change is phenomenal. I was blown away by your impact project on such an important issue. You're going to change the world and help inspire others in so many ways. Los Gatos High School is going to be lucky to have such a kind, respectful young person who works hard and cares about everyone. You will be missed, but I can't wait to see you at the alumni game, which we will win, next year, and watch you playing freshman basketball at Los Gatos High School.
Martin. I've been Martin's teacher since third grade, and he has been a delight to teach over the last 6 years. He has always shown up to my class with a smile and a positive attitude. Whenever I see him in class or around campus, he has always asked me how I am doing and how my day has been. Such a gentleman. Besides being a gentleman, Martin is quite the athlete. He is a nationally ranked tennis player, and although you wouldn't know it by his easygoing demeanor, he practices 3 to 4 hours a day and competes in state and national tournaments on an extremely competitive level on weekends. I am certain that tennis will be part of Martin's life for a very long time. Today, I want to share another side of Martin with you. It is a side of Martin that few get to witness, except in the narrow confines of class in the hub. I wouldn't call it a passion for him like tennis, but more of a highly developed interest. I don't think there's a name for this activity, but perhaps Martin could come up with one. It involves gluing together large popsicle sticks in triangular or more complex geometric shapes, and then throwing them to see how far they will fly. Most of them end up on the roofs near the hub and will likely be there for years. Every time I see one of these on a roof, I will think of Martin and wish him well with his tennis and his studies. I'm looking forward to the day I turn on the TV to watch tennis, and seeing Martin competing at Wimbledon or some other major tournament, I'll think, man, could that kid throw a mean popsicle stick boomerang. I wish you best in all your future endeavors, Martin.
Alicia. Alicia, you blew us all away this year when you stepped out on stage as Lucy in the musical. In fact, that's kind of how you roll in general. You put your all into what you do, and you just keep trucking like it's no big deal. You aren't someone who craves the limelight. Take, for example, in history class, Mr. J will ask everyone to predict or intuit something, and then when no one gets it, you gently put your hand up in the air and knock it out of the park. You might call yourself quiet, but I think the people who know you well would have a lot to say about what's underneath the surface. I'm willing to bet that even the friends who've known you since kindergarten still haven't gotten to see all that you are. With that said, the quiet folks are the ones secretly holding it down for everyone. And on occasion, this can feel lonely. It can feel easy to disappear into the background. But in a world where everything is loud, and so many people are racing to the front, waving frantically, trying to be seen, you know how to carve out your own space. One way that you do that is through your fantastic art expression. When there's free time at recess, Alicia's drawing in her notebook. When we're sitting on a ridge at Marin Headlands, Alicia's drawing in her notebook. When we're taking notes in science class, just kidding, she's taking notes. And then she's drawing in her notebook. You're an amazing artist in so many ways, from drawing to singing to rock band. Whether it's a doodle on a paper, a character in your notebook, a new outfit or hairstyle you've designed, you bring your own style and vision to life. My favorite thing is that when we have a little break in our double block, you come up and you show me the next thing that you've been drawing. Canadian artist Winona Mulcaster said, "Art is a language. It's not a skill. It's not a stunt. It's not something you just learn to do and put it down. It comes from the heart." Alicia, there's no doubt that your artwork comes from the heart. You take your time. You never seem rushed. And it's that kind of pace that also makes you a fabulous listener. During group work, I've seen you share your ideas and then genuinely listen to someone else's as well. You're not just waiting for others to stop talking so that you can speak. You truly listen. You carefully consider ideas besides your own, and that is a powerful gift in and of itself. Listening is the foundation of wisdom. It's the ability to see multiple perspectives. Those viewpoints can point us in new directions, ones that we can't see on our own. So be sure that as you begin your next chapter in high school, that you find yourself among people who listen to you, who take the time to truly see you, and who celebrate you for all that you are and all that you are yet to become.
Hey, class of 2022. How you all doing up there? Yeah, looking great. I'm Mr. Jacobson. I'm here to talk about Jane Lockteff. Our culture has a way of sometimes overusing a word or a phrase to the point of making it irrelevant or meaningless. I fear that's what has happened with the term old soul. Yet, Jane, this so suits you. You walk in this world with a maturity, a gravitas, and a sixth sense about things that belies your age. You're a throwback, an analog girl in this high-tech world. Your pace, humility, intuition, and sophistication allow you to see things that live closer to the margins than the center, closer to the metaphorical than the literal. You are deeply invested in social justice, and you figured out that advocacy, representation, and standing up for what you believe comes in many forms, not just the most visible or obvious ones. I caught a glimpse of this early on in history class when I read your thesis statement for your Billy Elliot essay. Quote, "In this essay, I will explore the central theme of evolution in the film Billy Elliot through relationships between father and son, gender stereotypes, and workers' rights." There are just not that many 8th graders who possess the worldliness to articulate this kind of statement, and then the polish to back it up with legitimate examples in the body of the essay. Miss Blum noticed these qualities about you long ago, and impressively, she was able to surface some of the comments she wrote about you in 2015. Quote, "When asked what a scientist looks like, Jane drew a woman and said she's studying a rock. Jane enjoyed testing out lots of science tools such as beakers, magnifying lenses, and safety goggles. It struck me that your rendering of a scientist was a woman. Despite the dominant cues in society that would have influenced you otherwise, you represented a woman scientist. Not to make a political statement, I don't think, but rather because this is what you saw in your mind's eye. I am moved by the connection between 7-year-old Jane's interpretation of a scientist and the stunning illustrated children's book that 14-year-old Jane created for her social impact and leadership final project. In beautiful and accessible ways, Skylar's voice introduces a second-grade reading audience to the concept of feminism. It outlines some of the historical and contemporary conditions that have and continue to marginalize women, as well as the importance of the women's rights movement. Jane, I'm so proud of you for creating this book. Speaking of a second-grade audience, one of my highlights this year was observing Jane with her second-grade buddy. Jane, Dakshina adores you. I had a chance to ask her what she enjoyed about being your buddy. Quote, I enjoyed the first time I met her when we interviewed each other and we realized that we like some things in common. Jane is very kind to me. She always says hi to me when she sees me, and when I couldn't find her one day at Flag, she found me and got my attention. I couldn't conclude your recognition speech without mentioning your standout performance in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. We saw a new side to you for sure. Miss No probably saw this coming as she observed that you had really been pushing yourself in Stuco and gaining lots of poise and confidence as the year unfolded. You truly owned the role of Violet and you made it your own. Then again, Miss Blum's comments from 2015 reveal a budding performance artist. Quote, during an integrated project with music and science studying the kinetic wire sculpture of Alexander Calder's circus, Jane designed and built a tightrope walker and scene with her group. Jane, I am a better person for knowing you, and I wish you all the best beyond Hillbrook.
Kaelin Dugan. So one of the brightest moments I had in my first 3 years at Hillbrook was the greeting delivered from one Kaelin Dugan each morning. With a big smile and looking me right in the eye, he would say, hello, Mr. Lavage, how are you? And then wait with genuine interest for a response. Until recently, I thought this was a special thing between the two of us. But no, Kaelin takes a moment to greet each person on campus every day and truly takes interest in their response. Not typical for a teen, but very typical for Kaelin. In class, Kaelin is always offering to help out his classmates. He has a knack for being the one who always understands the assignment and is able to explain it to others in a way that makes sense to them. A diligent student, purposeful leader, dynamo organizer, great big brother, stellar athlete, and arm wrestler extraordinaire. Kaelin has been an inspiration to younger students and peers alike in his time at Hillbrook. He has taken an active role in his Hillbrook education and beyond. He participated in student council in 5th grade at Hillbrook, and as a leader of several successful initiatives, such as the Hillbrook Diaper Drive this year, which produced over 5,000 diapers. He did not stop when the school day ended. Selected to be on the Los Gatos Youth Commission as the Community Health and Senior Services Commissioner, he has shown a passion around health and wellness. I wonder where he gets that from. He is a person of big ideas, as he shared years ago when running for student council rep, and I quote, I am your best choice to be your advisory representative. I have an idea to start a lunchtime club time. Instead of sitting around like a bunch of teenagers, why not have time for doing a passion with others? Kaelin is the type of student you hope to have an opportunity to teach and learn from. He will do wonders in high school and beyond as he takes his talents and gifts to Bellarmine next year. You'll be missed, Kaelin.
I've gotten to that age. It is a true delight this evening to recognize the inimitable Cara Fan. Faculty describe her as a leader, positive, helpful, kind, graceful, pleasant all the time, with a joyful sense of humor to boot. Her friends would probably say she is persistent, creative, and dedicated. She sees herself as time efficient and engaged. Oh, and that volleyball serve, wow. Cara, when you arrived at Hillbrook in the 4th grade from London with your siblings, you had the anchor of your loving family to steady your transition. However, through the birthright of your temperament and the care taken in your upbringing, you have long been a seaworthy clipper ship, steady, agile, with sails billowing. As a young student, your teachers received you as an enthusiastic and sincere participant in school. You were open, receptive to guidance, and took seriously giving your best effort. While you have consistently embodied forward academic momentum, earning accolades and recognition, you've been generous and have shared your playful spirit along the way. Thanks to you, Cara, I've developed a love for Pour RT, which you brought upon returning from one of your many trips to visit the Vibrant Communities charity in China that seeks to improve the lives of migrant children. So generous. And with the many moments of laughter and levity you've shared, I'll long remember how delighted you were to share the twinkling white upside-down Christmas tree in your living room with all your teachers as you entered middle school. I still remember that serene spectacle. Through the risks you've taken and the many ways you've stretched yourself, you've navigated personal growth with attention to the community. This year, when you were asked to consider what sets you apart from your peers, you reflected, I think slowly through problems and work things out step by step. I will take problems, analyze them, and ask around about what others think, and then find ways to solve the issue. I also lead table discussions and make sure that everyone is heard. Our community is better for your participation, care, and activism. Now, as you set your course for Notre Dame, may the memories, achievements, challenges, and relationships you have gathered here fill your sails and lift you into your next journey. They are lucky to be welcoming you to port. Steady indeed, Cara. Sails billowing with Stop Asian Hate banners flowing.
Quinn. I have a really fun memory of Quinn that's been sticking with me for years, and it's of her performing in the middle school winter concert. And I say for years because she did it as a 4th grader. And for anyone that doesn't realize, that was actually pretty unprecedented for someone to take such a risk. Even more impressive was that she took center stage to perform a duet. She was about a foot shorter than everybody else in the choir, but stood confidently singing her solo from The Sound of Music's My Favorite Things. And she was just so brave in taking that risk, and she had her big smile the whole entire time. She's carried that same spirit to today. Quinn is eager and willing to say yes and to take risks and try new things. And this is often in the roles of service or lending a helping hand. Here on campus, she's been a huge support to her teachers, helping in classrooms, even after school, and into the summer. And she's never done it grudgingly or even out of a sense of duty, but just because she's happy to do so. She helped with various tasks for school events, such as silk screening shirts for the faculty versus 8th grade kickball game, and took on a role of operations manager, organizing a team of students in the sales of their laser cut ornaments. And she's even recently begun volunteering at the Los Gatos Library, and this list goes on. And so as I think back to Quinn, singing my favorite things, here are a few of my own favorite things about her. Quinn is kind and has a huge heart. She is as sweet as the sweet peas that she enjoys growing in her garden. And she's always outgoing and warm to everybody who crosses her path. I and the other adults on campus appreciate her hellos as she always greets us by our names. Whether walking to class or hanging around after school, she's happy to engage in conversation, sharing about the latest mystery novel she's reading, something delicious that she has baked, or a recent trip to the beach to surf with her dad. She's a sophisticated and eloquent writer, a talented artist and photographer, and a naturalist with an appreciation for observing the natural world, very dear to my own heart. And an incredibly hard worker. Whatever it is she's doing, Quinn cares about giving her best. You see this in her academics, on the volleyball court, and during this year's musical, where despite the cast on her hand, she was one of the hardest working singers and actors on stage and never stopped trying to improve her performance right up until opening night. So Quinn, thank you for being such a positive presence on campus for all of these years. Your classmates and teachers in high school are going to be very lucky to get to spend their days around you.
Natasha. Natasha, you Hillbrook 3 years ago, just like me. I met you early in the year, and my first memory of you that stands out is from the Los Gatos Holiday Parade. At that event, my then 4-year-old daughter, who had said she wanted to ride the Hillbrook float, got teary and upset because I was walking next to the float rather than sitting on it with her. And there wasn't a simple or safe way to get her off the float while it was in motion. Despite having just met her and being 8 years her senior, your empathy saved the day. You played with her, calmed her down, and kept her happy until she and I were reunited. And that, in a nutshell, still captures everything one needs to know about you to understand who you are, Natasha. You exemplify caring, connection, selflessness, and kindness in your every thought and your every action. You are sensitive around and generous with others. You've made meaningful friendships with students across grades, which is rarer than it ought to be in middle school. Your spirit shone through your social impact project, which was creating a podcast that would allow the members of your class to connect, work together, and to feel included in the grade-wide experience of social impact, rather than working in silos and without the powerful benefit of each other's perspectives and insights. You didn't seek or want the spotlight. You chose instead to lift up and celebrate others. You have an abundance of interests and talents that make you unique. You love Percy Jackson books, you are committed to volleyball, and you excel at singing. In our Final Flags choir performance, you had several solo lines, one of which was, "And now, whatever ways our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend." Our stories, Natasha, are indeed rewritten by you. I will remember and will always treasure your kindness, your quiet dignity, and above all, your gentleness. In that same flag, you open the choir's performance with another set of solo lines. "I close my eyes and I can see the world that's waiting up for me." Natasha, that line is so apt. As joyful as it can be to have an easy and carefree few years of middle school, that experience is the exception rather than the rule. There's nothing more thrilling as middle school educators to meet a student like you
whose heart and mind tell you, in a whisper, not a shout, that they have great things in their future. I hope you've found meaning and happiness in your middle school years and in the friendships you've cultivated here. And I hope you also know that your best days lie ahead. Close your eyes, Natasha, and know that the world that's waiting up for you is one that you will make better through your caring, through your kindness, and through your gentle spirit.
Jesse. Jesse joined Hillbrook this year, I think because he likes a challenge. If middle school isn't enough of a challenge for you, you could try adding COVID, school shutdowns, and distance learning. If that's still not enough of a challenge, you could add on a cross-country bus ride, moving to a new state, and starting at an entirely new school. Jesse did all that, and he made it look easy. We're glad to have him here. At Hillbrook, Jesse was quickly recognized as a hard worker, a deep thinker, and a dependable friend. He's someone who takes pride in his learning and asks thoughtful questions in class. His fellow students appreciate his kind nature and sense of humor, and he is a great source of tech support. He is quick to check in with classmates and see if they need help, whether it's a math question or if they're not feeling well. His teachers consistently mention his kindness and curiosity, the sincerity and depth with which he can engage in discussions about both academic questions and social issues. He has an approach to learning that's both self-assured and modest. He contributes his own thinking to discussions and always asks questions. Jesse's a student who squeezes the most he can out of his opportunities in school, and as a result, he has excelled across academic subjects as well in art and athletics. He's also a serious competitor in tennis. While Jesse takes challenges in stride, we did manage to find one limit. During the recent 8th grade trip to Marin Headlands, students participated in a campfire skit in which participants had to do an action every time the name of their character was mentioned. Jesse's character was Captain Nature Bridge, and his job was to make a superhero pose every time the name was mentioned. Those who know Jesse can probably guess that posturing, both literally and figuratively, is not in his nature. And despite his success on stage, spinning plates in a gold vest at the Hillbrook Circus, despite his celebrated cameo as a bus driver in the 8th grade musical, possibly second only to Stan Lee's bus driver cameo in Infinity War, the challenge of posing on stage was daunting for Jesse. Instead of grand poses, Jesse would turn and hug a friend every time his turn came up. But even this might speak to Jesse's thoughtfulness. Sometimes the best thing a hero can offer is a little support. I think we all could learn from the courage and good humor with which you face challenges and your willingness to always ask questions. We're so glad that you joined our class, and we wish you the best next year. Thank you.
David Herman. Oh, David, where has the time gone? Seems like just yesterday that you and some of your classmates here on this stage teamed up as the Packers and play flag football. After the game, overzealous parents bust out the popsicles and the snacks. Yeah, those were the good old days. Ms. O'Connor, Ms. Lee, and Mr. G all remember how you delighted in playing sports at recess from even the early years of kindergarten through 5th grade. And your love of football and basketball hasn't faded over the years. Not one bit. It's only gotten stronger. As much as you have always loved sports and have grown into an incredibly talented athlete, I don't see you as one who enjoys the limelight or stressful competition. Quite the opposite. You tend to shine the spotlight on others. You're a team player. And I've seen your selflessness on the court and the field, often looking for the just right pass instead of shooting the ball yourself. Sure, you do know how to talk some smack, and you'll banter back and forth with your opposition, even if the opponent's your best friend. You're the master of little quips, one-liners delivered deadpan. Doesn't matter if you're walking a frisbee golf course or constructing regatta boats or shooting hoops. You can't help but work your dry sense of humor into every interaction. Sometimes it might come across as overconfidence and boastfulness, but I know you're just having fun. Despite this tendency toward humor, we have seen you thinking deeply and growing in your confidence this year. You have stood up and made your voice heard about global issues enough to join a Black Lives Matter march, to create a lesson plan for lower school students about rising sea levels and climate refugees, and to pack school supplies with friends to support Family Giving Tree. David, don't stop standing up for what you believe, and keep doing this good work. I will leave you all with this excerpt of David's What I Believe poem in English class this year. I believe in listening and in speaking up. I believe in learning from history and changing the future. I believe in knowing when to lead and knowing when to follow. I believe that all people are equal. I believe sports can bring the world together. I believe that all people deserve a chance. David, I believe you are a loyal friend, a loving brother, a skilled baller, and a change maker. Believe in yourself, try new things, and don't be afraid to fail as you go off to high school and start the next chapter of your life. Best of luck.
Diksha. Your teachers over the years have described you as passionate, polite, positive, welcoming, responsible, warm, and kind. You're a strong leader both inside and outside of the classroom. You're a cornerstone at home for your family. You're a reliable friend, a role model, and a trustworthy student. You're organized, insightful, studious, creative, and thoughtful. You know how to fire people up and give a friendly push when needed. You also know when to tread softly and gently and hold space for those who need it. You care about social justice, and you've dipped your toes into various action groups over the years. You're a dancer, an artist, a logic lover, and critical thinker. So, congratulations, you're hired. Hired for what, you might ask? Well, just about anything. Please don't ever limit yourself. Don't let your humility dissuade you from stepping out into the spotlight. Remind your inner critic to take long walks on the beach. Tell any self-doubt that you might have to kindly take a forever nap. And encourage that little voice in your gut whispering, "You got this," to speak up. Surround yourself with change makers and people who wear their hearts on their sleeves. But importantly, find yourself amongst your equals. You're a wonderful mediator. You notice the little things. You strive to keep everything and everyone, yourself included, in harmony and in balance. But just because you can carry it all doesn't mean that you should. Trust me when I say that it's important to learn at an early age the joys of saying, "No thanks," and "Here, you can do this." Remember just a minute ago when I said don't ever limit yourself? Well, let me qualify that statement. One Dikshahala can do a heck of a lot, but there is only one of you. So safeguard your energy. Don't get too caught up in your head with all the things that you should be doing. You might feel compelled to take care of this person or go organize that thing over there. In fact, you may get asked to do all the things and be thanked profusely for them too. Let people carry their own burdens. In fact, it's okay to ask someone else to help you from time to time. Take time to do absolutely nothing. Enjoy the peace and relaxation that comes from deep rest. Sometimes being the cornerstone, the rock, the glue that holds everyone together can keep you locked in one place for a really long time. So above all, I hope that you take that amazing opportunity that comes along. I hope that you go on that adventure, that you walk in your truth wherever you go. And in order to do that, I hope that you follow your dreams. In order to do that, you might feel like you have to put something down that isn't yours to carry anymore. It's okay to let go of the glue, the rocks, the bricks, and all the metaphors for the things that hold us together. Because when you empower others to stand in their own strength, so will you. And it's in that space you'll find the freedom to be everything that you are and everything that you're meant to become.
Brody Tanner. Brody arrived at Hillbrook mid-year and didn't skip a beat, making strong friendships and impressing his teachers with his ability to jump right into class discussions and join projects. Many of Brody's teachers noted his strong work ethic and organized and methodical approach to assignments and projects. Brody is serious about his studies and someone you can tell really loves learning. I first met Brody shortly after he joined Hillbrook because he was one of a small group of winners of our Scott Center What Matters to Me essay contest. In his essay, Brody showcased both his strong writing skills and his ability to connect the dots between complex topics like climate change and global warming. His love for science and history allowed him to recognize concrete patterns of decision-making that could lead to tangible ideas for truly making a difference locally and globally. I got to know Brody much better this year when we embarked on our Reach Beyond week. Always polite and respectful and attentive, Brody soaked in every aspect of our trip, often the first one to thank a guest speaker, ask a great question about sustainable agriculture, or jump into the field and pick some ripe strawberries for the group. His curiosity and care for the world is inspiring inside and outside of the classroom. We also discovered during our Reach Beyond week that Brody is quite an excellent chef. He embraced a whole new challenge, making a true farm-to-table meal come to life for a group of 16. Cooking for that many people in a small, hot kitchen is no small feat, but Brody embraced this challenge with a sense of humor and openness that put us all at ease at the kitchen together. A favorite memory of Brody from our Reach Beyond week happened at our very last location, a visit to the Chumash Native American Museum. Miss MM and I were both blown away at Brody's deep knowledge of Native Americans. He answered all of the guide's detailed questions with care and detail. Later, Brody shared that the history of California, and specifically the history of American Indians, is of deep interest to him, and that he has read and researched this topic extensively over the years. Kind, humble, intellectual, respectful, and deeply curious. Brody represents so much of what we hope for Hillbrook students. Brody's SIL project was another reminder of his ability to apply an entrepreneurial and imaginative, intellectual, rigorous mindset to a self-directed project. Mr. Silver noted his excellent interviewing skills and ability to engage deeply in a topic that is still relatively new to many people. His enthusiasm and interest in this topic was so inspiring that several 7th graders shared after hearing his presentation, "I definitely want to do a project like Brody Tanner's next year." Brody, we are so glad that you joined Hillbrook when you did, and I'm so grateful to have spent such a wonderful week getting to know you better this year. You have made a lasting impression on our community, and we look forward to staying in touch as you embark on your new and exciting high school adventures. Your kindness, care for the future of the planet, and curiosity of the world will lead you to exceptional places, and you will always have a home and community cheering you on here at Hillbrook.
Tess. Tess, Tess, Tess. Oh, where do I ever begin? You see, I have a dilemma. How do I keep this speech between the 300 to 500 word limit? There is just too much to say. Hillbrook is the perfect school for Tess. As we all know, we are an independent school, and after some deep reflection, with the help of Tess's own words, independence, or independent, is a word that comes up time and time again when reflecting on Tess. Showing a desire for freedom is one of the definitions of the word independent. In photography class, the freedom to create any photo imaginable is a key goal. As Tess says herself in her All About Me document, I enjoy photography because it lets me express myself through the photos I take. Tess took full advantage of this freedom she had in class, and along with her terrific work ethic, created some beautiful and uniquely personal images. Not subject to control by others is yet another definition of the word independent. When Tess sees a way she can make a positive change, she does not just imagine it. She takes charge to bring about that change if possible. Earlier this year, she, along with Cyrus, had a vision of bringing back study hall. Again, Tess did not just lament on study hall not being available anymore, but put the time and work and effort to create a petition and proposal to bring it back. In the end, unfortunately for Tess and Cyrus, it proved unsuccessful. But it was not an indicator of her not trying, quite the contrary. It was impressive to see the work and effort that went into trying to bring about this change for herself and others to follow. For the first time ever, yearbook editors did not have an opportunity to be in yearbook the year before due to COVID restrictions. I knew I needed people that could handle this most challenging opportunity. Tess immediately came to mind, along with Oliver. I knew that she could not only handle this challenging moment, but could actually thrive in it. Even though I felt confident in my choice, it was not a given that she would welcome it. Well, any worries, if I actually had any, were quickly erased. Tess not only eagerly welcomed this position, but absolutely thrived in it. She ran meetings, met with our rep, met with the staff, and she always had a knack to check in with me on a consistent basis to make sure I was getting my work done, which I am grateful for to this day. So that yearbook you see, I credit to Oliver and Tess. Thank you so much for that, Tess, and both of you. Finally, some fun facts that round up Tess. During the 8th grade trip, Tess went by another name that I believe she gave herself. Tess, you want to let us know what that name is? Big T! That's right, Tess. Big T. Did you know that Big T can hit a golf ball 200 yards? Did you know that Big T can throw a spiral 40 yards? I can't throw a spiral 5 yards. And hit the target. Did you know that Big T, just one day on a whim, went in the music room without ever playing the drums, got on him, and kept the beat during the whole song? And probably most impressive, Big T is a world-class high-fiver. If you need an uplift or just to feel good, go to Big T and ask for a high five. And as a matter of fact, that was the award she gave herself in the yearbook. In all seriousness, Tess, keep exploring all possibilities that come your way, all the while giving them your excellent effort and care you have with all that you have taken on. This world is a better place with leaders like you in it. Job well done, and you'll be missed very much next year.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. My first time ever. Aiden. Okay, So, Aiden, I got you, Miss Vanessa. Aiden's catchphrase to me during the entire musical, I got you. And to be honest, when I first met Aiden, he was so confident and so sure of himself and so smooth, maybe a little too excited, that I kind of wondered if it was real. But then, Aiden meant every word of it. He slipped into his job as spotlight operator as if he had been working for Cirque du Soleil his whole life. He sat with his team, created a cue book that was perfectly marked. He studied it until he knew it front and back, upside down, inside out. He came to rehearsal, got everything set up, made sure that everyone else was set up. He asked the important questions, and he had a knack for finding ways of improving the show, even if it was on the fly, and scared me to death. He was the first to lend gentle correction or compliment or encouragement to his team, and every night he said, "Let's go, Miss Vanessa, I got you." And every single time, Aiden, you meant it. That's just how Aiden is. When he says it, he means it. And he is not shy about saying it either. And when he means it, he jumps into action with passion and a huge smile. Like on the court, this guy is a basketball pro, threes all day, but his competitiveness doesn't stop him from the I got you mentality. Here's his own words describing an experience on the court. A life lesson I learned in basketball was that leadership is not about being the best player on the team. I learned that true leadership was teaching others. Aiden chose to play basketball in a tournament with a younger, less experienced player, and though he claimed and admitted that he was frustrated at times, he learned that while he didn't win the tournament, he was proud that he chose friendship over basketball. Aiden also said, I got you to a young friend named Max in 4th grade. He developed a strong bond with Max riding the bus, and you can see them walking each other to class, saying, bye, have a good day. Aiden, Max knows that you've got him. Aiden is an Eagle Scout, which is super impressive to me, and I've been told that Scouts are I got you people. And the evidence of this is Aiden's service project with migrant workers in Singapore. He knew that his church was running a drive for clothing, and Aiden stepped in and said, I can do more. And he did. There was a huge outpouring of donations, and the drive was a success. 2 years ago, Aiden, you joined Hillbrook when your family moved from Singapore. And I know this was not easy for you. You wrote about it, saying moving was a big challenge, especially during the peak of COVID-19. When our family's time in Singapore was done, I really felt a sense of separation, leaving my friends, school, and old life behind. This new path was difficult, trying to make friends and attend a new school with social distancing. I am glad I persevered, as I now feel at home at Hillbrook, meeting some good friends and participating in activities. Aiden, you are a huge part of the Hillbrook family. And when you came, Hillbrook gained an awesome I got you guy. Someone who is energetic, possesses a great sense of humor, and is a great friend and an inspirational leader. And we are glad that you joined us. And as you get ready to go to Bellarmine, just know that if you keep saying I got you in life, you are going to get whatever you dream.
All right, Sharanya. So for many of us, the simultaneous transition to a new part of the country, a new neighborhood, a new school, and new communities of friends and family, while maintaining ties with people across the country, can feel daunting, and justifiably so. In your case, it could even feel more daunting. entering a JK through 8th grade school in the 8th grade. Sharanya, you handled this transition so gracefully this year. It's actually really hard to imagine the class of 2022 without you. Classmates, wouldn't you agree? Yes, right? As I consider your attributes and characteristics that contributed to making your transition so smooth, the ones that come to mind primarily include your kindness, your humility, your focus, and your thoughtfulness. However, I am not the only one who witnessed these qualities. For example, when I asked your 2nd grade buddy, Shivani, to share some things with me that she appreciates about her older buddy, Sharanya, she said, well, for one thing, she's kind. And for another, she makes me feel happy when we're together. Oh, and she's funny too. At Flag, she sometimes does this thing with me where she'll come up from behind me and say, guess who? And when I look over one shoulder, she'll switch to the other side. And when I look over the other shoulder, she'll switch back. With regards to your thoughtfulness, Sharanya, it's quite literal. You are full of thought and full of thoughts. You invest a lot of thought into your friendships. You consider what others are feeling. And you're always available with a ready smile or just knowing the right thing to say. I learned from Miss Doman that you were a wonderful roommate and traveler during the Reach Beyond trip in Wyoming. No surprise there. As the Hillbrook value states, you truly listen with the intent to understand. On our recent overnight trip to the Marin Headlands, your excitement with Dani and Abby and Anata over discoveries of aquatic isopods during the pond study was nothing short of inspiring. Throughout the year, you bonded with your classmates with your quick wit, your caring demeanor, honest opinions, and open-mindedness. In your classes, your teachers and I observed that you gave a lot of thought to detail and to doing your best. Your artistic endeavors, for example. Although you were new to ceramics this year, Ms. Hale shared that you had an ability to cover your work in expert-level glazed surfaces. The beautiful mural about ocean pollution for your social impact project, and the forward-thinking lobby decorations for the 8th grade musical all had your touch. We observed that you like to ask big questions that cut to the heart of the matter. You go boldly at big ideas. You respect points of view that are different from your own. You make your voice heard, and you never settle for what's simple. All the while loving a good belly laugh. Best of luck to you, Sharanya. We just wouldn't have been the same without you.
Good evening, class 2022. Can you all join me by standing up? And when I say the person's name, I want you to give that individual a chance to shine, so you would sit down. Families, staff, if you need a stretch, go ahead and stand up. When I say the person's name, follow along by sitting down and letting that student shine would be great. All right. Here we go. With under 1 minute left, Hillbrook 2022 basketball girls A team is down by 1. The Bears get in position for an inbound. A player inbounds the ball to Nico Kong. She dribbles to the right, to her right, towards the right wing. She stops to pump fake not once, but twice, and pulls up for a 50-foot jump shot. The basket goes in. The crowd goes wild. The Bears are up by 1 point. The Bears and Nico prepare for the inbound play on the defensive end. The Bears get on defense and steals the ball for the final play to seal the game. Hillbrook 2022 basketball girls A team wins the last game of the season. Great job. I bet half of the people on campus didn't even know that happened, but that's okay. There were lots of items that occurred during the week prior to RBW. What did not surprise me was even the person who made that last shot to win the game kept it to herself. To me, Nico is someone who Nico is someone who does not rave about her accomplishments. She is a mild-mannered student. She is a student who is focused at the task at hand, and no matter what she is involved in, whether it be the homework, the projects, exams, piano playing, drawing for the school play, creating school yearbook cover, making the game-winning shots, and being a great person on campus, she is always determined to finish strong. She's so focused on the task in front of her. When I see her on campus, even I'm afraid to say hi and to see what she's doing, because I don't like interrupting her. But when I do bother her for that quick moment, it is always so wonderful to hear what she is working on. It is always something different. It is great hearing from her because I envy her abilities. At a younger age, I wish I was more driven the way you are. I wish I was able to concentrate on numerous items while staying focused and be great in each one, such as yourself. Now that you are on your way to your chosen high school of St. Francis, I want to congratulate you on the next chapter of your young life. Make sure you celebrate however you decide to, and know that you will be missed.
Tyler. Tyler's first, second, and third grade teacher described him as kind, compassionate, and sweet to others. His fourth grade teacher said the same and added honest. I couldn't agree more. Tyler is all of these. A story that comes to mind is a conversation I had with him at the middle school dance. He came up to me. By the way, Miss Vanessa was DJing. And he came up to me. I thought she was doing great. And he says, I don't think Miss Vanessa knows what she's doing. Confused, I was like, why? What do you mean? Well, when she plays the slow songs, they're not long enough. So by the time the boys get the courage to ask the girls, they only get like 20 seconds to dance with them. I think you need to tell Miss Vanessa. I passed this message along. We all had a laugh, and the middle schoolers got to have their moments. He's looking out for his friends and his peers, and that's pretty sweet, right? Through the time I got to know him, I'd like to add a couple of other adjectives that describe Tyler. Determined, creative, and forward-thinking. Here are just some examples. Number one, there was a time he was in my escape room elective where he went above and beyond to make the experience immersive. Tyler engineered a cardboard replica of a cash register and added a motor with a button so that if you push the button, a receipt would shoot out. He's got skills. He's determined, creative, and forward-thinking. For years, students have wanted a vending machine at school. As an elected director of student council, Tyler wanted to give people what they wanted. He knew that we can't have a vending machine, though, because it costs a lot and we don't know who will manage it. But he suggested, what if we have a student store? He spent the entire first semester making a proposal. Each time he went on a trip to Costco with his parents, he always came back with an estimate of cost for goods, a profit projection, and a capital allocation plan for how we could use the money towards school events. Though we weren't able to use real cash, he did open the student store, managed a team of students to run it, and thought on how to improve it each week. Determined, creative, and forward-thinking. Last summer, he spent a week during the Hub summer camp to get a plane to fly. Unsuccessful, he left with, this is now my goal for the whole next school year, to get a plane to fly. Almost every day in electives this quarter, with a full crowd down below, he has come up to Hub Loft to release his new invention off the balcony. He's gotten closer and closer each time, or maybe further and further, but he is determined, creative, and forward-thinking. I could go on with so many more examples, such as coming up with the winning design for the regatta, making a shoe out of recycled plastic bottles for his social impact project, sharing his love for gambling, probability, by inventing Hillbrook scratchers and initiating the interactive wheel game at Flag, giving a star performance in the 8th grade play, proudly sharing his Jewish culture, and meeting his one goal of the 8th grade versus faculty basketball game, breaking his mom's ankles. Not literally, but I'll end it here. Tyler, you put your whole heart into everything that you do. You've left quite a legacy that will be quite hard to forget. You are fun to be around and watch out for others. I look forward to hearing what amazing projects you get into next.
Okay, Finn McFarland. Finn joined us from Liverpool about 4 short years ago and noted a slight change of weather. He was most excited about the options for sports in his new hometown of Los Gatos, California. Almost right away, he fell in love with lacrosse and discovered a new passion. He continues to play with his team, the Red Hawks, and hopes to keep learning new skills. He also thrived with new opportunities and experiences in school, although it was a much different system. He welcomed the novel experiences of yearbook, photography, coding, and social impact and leadership, in addition to honing his skills in traditional subjects. Although he was new and a long way from his former home, he found his way quickly and was always met with a smile from his classmates, as well as being a favored partner during projects or games. Ms. Doman told us that Finn was an excellent traveler on the Tetons field trip. He was kind, cooperative, and always up for good fun. He joined his friends and dressed in a bear costume at the Children's Art Museum and quietly murmured his approval as the field educator read to them with an appreciative and well-timed grrr. That is something I always admire about Hillbrook kids. They have such a sense of playfulness, and they hold on to it. He was also spotted building a cool fort with palm fronds at a creek near our 7-8 retreat in De La Viega last year with Kyle and Martin. Finn chose to participate backstage during the 8th grade musical, and Miss Vanessa said that he was willing to do anything to make the musical great. He was an important and valuable part of the experience. He completed an SIL project that centered around his passion for equity and helping Bay Area unhoused residents stay warm in the cold winter months. What started off as a project that involved recycling uniforms turned into a coat drive. Finn had the passion and drive to change his project midstream to better meet the needs of the people he was trying to serve. This shows maturity and it is a lesson that we can all learn from. When we are trying to help people, it is best to ask them what they actually need. Use your Finliness, a former student whispered to him during a heated game of Gimkit in Senorita Kelly's 7th grade Spanish class. Finn's Finliness is the best word I can use to describe his special brand of human. Use your Finliness, Finn, and step out from the backstage and take a bow. You have talent, humor, and creativity galore. I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. We will miss you.
You know, as I flip through this binder, Miss Deborah, it occurs to me to thank you for organizing this for us, as well as the flowers and the books and all of it. Thank you. All right, so this is one where the student will be revealed in a moment. Full backpack to the point of forcing a slight forward lean. Loping gait, long, smooth strides, never in a hurry. Sweet sideways smile, bright, active eyes, and of course, a football tucked under his arm. Oh my goodness, that was the giveaway right there, Sion. I'm here to recognize Sion. One of the sheer joys of teaching middle school is the front row seat we get as our students blossom, literally before our eyes. Sion, your shoots pierce the soil, your leaves unfurled, you blossomed. As many of your teachers observed, you took a rather measured approach at the beginning of this year, hanging back a bit, observing, and picking your spots to participate. This makes sense. After all, you entered Hillbrook as a 7th grader in the thick of a global pandemic. Even still, you integrated quite smoothly and made meaningful social connections. When it came to PE, recess, and sports, I'm told, there was no hanging back about it. You jumped in full force and went all out. We've all enjoyed watching you rally your friends to play in whatever setting, field trips, local parks, blacktop, upper field. I was waiting for you to play in the ocean when we were at the Headlands, as well as the tenacity, joy, and sportsmanship that you bring to it. You've graced Hillbrook with your politeness, sensitivity, and scholastic diligence. You've displayed care toward your peers and the adults in our community. Your strong participation and leadership was felt on the Detroit-Chicago Reach Beyond Week trip, even though apparently you managed to fall asleep while sitting upright on the party bus. I think I speak for many when I say that you always have a hello, a warm smile, and a caring word when crossing paths on campus. In history class this year, I've been impressed by your willingness to speak up and share your ideas and your opinions. I remember, for example, when we studied Japanese American internment, I asked if anyone would like to share their original art pieces, offering strategies that could break the historic cycles of anti-Asian hate and violence in the US. This was a complex assignment, and very few classmates were willing to share. Yet without hesitation, you stood before us and presented your project, graphic novel panels that discussed the importance of teaching Asian American history to young children. Sion, I will miss you. You were regularly the last one to leave my classroom, wanting to follow up about something that came up during the lesson, or simply just wanting to chat. I treasured those moments with you. Best of luck on your transition to Chicago. You've got this. Trust me that you will not only find your way, but you will thrive. We will all be rooting for you.
There are night owls, there are early birds, and then there's Abby. Saying that she is a morning person seems like it would be an understatement. The infectious energy and spirited joie de vivre that characterize Abby show up right along with her in the morning when she walks through the door into advisory. Abby's vivacious energy and friendly attitude were something I noticed before even beginning to teach her this year. Hearing, "Hi, Ms. De Palma," from across campus was not an uncommon occurrence last year. I was always touched that she would smile, wave, and say hi, despite my not really knowing her yet. This year, even if I had seen her in class 5 seconds ago, she'd be sure to say, "Hi, Ms. De Palma," as she'd go by. This year, I've had the pleasure of getting to know her better, both in advisory and English class. And here are some of what I've learned about Abby, qualities that her other teachers have noticed as well. Her creativity. Abby is a strong writer, especially when given the space to be creative. In her vignette earlier this year, she wrote a powerful piece comparing herself to the ocean. She wrote, "Impulsive, but slightly predictable. The ocean swirls and thrashes in the cool month of September, but in the summer, the endless blue shimmers like a gathering of fireflies during a dark night. Angry one moment and bubbling with laughter the next, like me, emotions rising and falling along with the waves." If we had more time, I'd read you the whole vignette. It was that good. Another example of her creativity shining through was when she created possibly the best thank you card I've ever received after I wrote her high school rec.
She painstakingly drew by hand and colored in all the characters from And Then There Were None, with tiny details for each one to reveal who was who, like a little bear and a noose. You know. And while her creativity is certainly one of the qualities that sets Abby apart, I would be remiss if I didn't also mention what a great listener, supportive friend, and kind young woman she is. Hillbrook has been very lucky to have Abby for the last couple of years and benefit from her curiosity as a learner, her love for reading and writing, her positive attitude, especially those days with a double block of English, right? And of course, her creativity. Abby, I know you will make an extraordinary impact next year in high school. Keep on creating, keep on caring, and maybe stay away from the coffee. Not sure you need it yet. We will miss you. Congratulations.
There's about 10 of us left. Ethan. So I first met Ethan when he was in 5th grade during our Reach Beyond week, where we went backpacking to Henrico State Park. And this was his first backpacking trip, and he took to it with the characteristic excitement that Ethan has for life. But he was also an incredible support for our group. It was the first time that I had really known him in any capacity, and this was something that was at the forefront. While some of the other campers slipped on muddy banks of a lake while they were trying to filter water, Ethan stood poised, and he eagerly volunteered to pump drinking water for others in the group. He was a natural in the outdoor environment. And in the years that have followed, I've continued to see Ethan as a thoughtful and supportive friend, classmate, and brother. From patiently helping friends learn to ice skate at the first middle school social event, to the enthusiasm he shows towards his 2nd grade buddy, Ethan shows the people around him that he cares about them. In electives, he drew up plans to surprise his sister with a prop from one of her favorite shows, and while it never came to fruition, supply chain issues, I'm thinking. I mention it now because his sister should know how he thinks of her even during the school day. Ethan has also begun to grow his leadership skills to be of support and service to his community on a larger scale. In his tribal wisdom camp, he shows pride in his work mentoring younger kids. He has also volunteered with a variety of nonprofit organizations while participating in the Boys Team Charity, all of which has earned him the Gold Presidential Service Award at an unprecedented 160-something hours. Yes, yes. And during the musical, he joined the ranks of Aiden. He became a lighting tech extraordinaire, essentially running the show to the point that I think he even corrected Miss Vanessa if she called her on cue for lighting. And, you know, respectively and diplomatically, of course. And then, of course, there is his leadership on the football field. As the defensive team captain, he coached teammates with clear direction while giving rallying pep talks before games. And then I would be remiss, of course, not to mention his love for baseball that we all know him very well for. He has explained to me that not only is he not afraid of swinging at 75-mile-an-hour fastballs that would scare many other kids away, they actually make him hungry for the game. And I can't help but see this same mentality for his approach to all of his other endeavors. So Ethan, as I close here, there's actually 2 things I want to say. One is, as you go off to high school, make sure you come back and play ping pong with me, because while I don't ever expect to beat you, I do appreciate the sportsmanship. And as you enter high school, you are well prepared to tackle any challenges while helping to be an agent of change.
Anada.
When Anada was in first grade, Ms. Blum also interviewed him, asking, "What is science?" He responded by saying that science is discovering if we're all alone on this planet. Deep or silly, it's hard to say, but it strikes me that this moment captures Anada quite well. He's profound and serious, articulate and bright, but also a little silly and wrapped in enigma. Unanswerable questions abound about Anada, like, how did he go from being so very small in JK to so very tall now? Why is he always sleepy, but also boundlessly energetic and athletic? And what is playing on those headphones that you wear around your neck every day? I had the pleasure of working with Anada on his social impact project this year as he designed a research project to test some predictions he has about climate change's self-reported impact on students and adults' mental health. In following his process, I learned a lot about how he thinks. Anada cares a lot about complex issues, about the environment, and about people. But he also gets that wherever there is complexity, simplicity coexists. And wherever there is crisis, a glimmer of hope is there also. Anada fundamentally gets the dual nature of people and issues, that we are at once overwhelmed by global problems, wanting to make a difference, but are equally as nonplussed as his character Snoopy from the musical, knowing that things are swell, turning out so well. Both can be true. Wise beyond his years, not afraid to stand out from the crowd, he also enjoys some of the more usual things: math class, photography, singing in glee club and in concerts, and playing basketball, both competitively and casually. His teachers resoundingly will remember him as a leader, someone willing to speak up, help out, and stay humble about his ideas and accomplishments. Coach Jade recalled that this year Anada hadn't signed up to play football, but agreed when he asked him to join and helped his team get to the championship. Jade recalled, "He showed me so much respect as a coach and is just such a leader." In 6th grade, Anada wrote for a class project called the Encyclopedia of Names that he'd wanted to shorten his own name but found it never quite fit. My name, Anada, is about non-self or substancelessness. It's like the concept that no human is permanent, that everything will move on. Saratoga High School will be lucky to have you as you move on, both in the times you find yourself alone or tackling climate change, but also in the times that you're singing to a crowd or just shooting hoops with a smile. In some ways, I'm sorry to say, Anada, that your 1st grade hunch was right. And there are times we're all very much alone on the planet. It's equally true that we are surrounded by friends. And while we are, as your name suggests, substanceless, we also have tremendous power to act singularly in service of others and our beliefs. You know this already, so you'll do great. We'll miss you and the substance you've brought to Hillbrook.
Cyrus. You're one of those people who likes to keep it real, and you're also adept at knowing exactly what to say. You know that I call this the what you think adults want to hear version. Cyrus and I bounced back and forth between those two modes until we got to know each other a little bit at the beginning of the year. We were having the classic, "How can I support you as your advisor?" conversation. And I asked you if something was actually working for you or not, and you said no. And I knew you weren't just telling me what you thought I wanted to hear. This meant a lot to me because what I really wanted to hear was how you felt, and I know that isn't as always as easy as it seems. We often know how Cyrus feels about something, whether we've asked you or not. Cyrus is one of those people that adds a little bit of spice, or perhaps a giant handful, from time to time. Maybe you like to stir the pot just a little, and you've got the impish grin to go with it. I wasn't sure how long you'd be using the phrase, "you're a rat," simultaneously as a term of endearment, but also as a stick to poke the bear. It's been truly a fascinating social experiment for me to watch all year, especially starting off with it in the morning, first thing, at 8:30. You hung on to that for many months before converting to the tried and true classic, your mom, as your go-to phrase. What's even more impressive is that a couple weeks ago I heard you and Estelle back at the Rat. Maybe it was when you were both wanting to name your boat the Swamp Rat for the regatta. And regardless, you ended full circle this morning with that. Either way, I'm impressed that you've come full circle. Based on that, and what you originally wanted your most likely label to be in the yearbook, I wonder, though, if you only see yourself as the person who stirs the pot. Just to be clear, you're a lot more than that. Sometimes after being in the same place for a while, we get stuck in a loop. The same thing is just on replay. But that was then, and this is now, and you've grown. So don't hold on to what was just because it's familiar. Early in the year, you were often the first person to arrive to advisory. So we'd take down the chairs every morning. We'd chat about the weekend. You'd often share little stories about spending time with your family. And it was clear to me that while you were often playful and quick-witted with your peers, there were a lot of things about you that you kept really close to the vest. My hope for you is that as you find your way in high school, is that you look for other people who can keep it real, but who can also hold space for you to be your full self. You're a keen observer of your surroundings. You're organized, you're a tremendous self-advocate, you aren't afraid to ask questions and look up information on your own, you're self-motivated and a really hard worker. When something isn't right, you say something. You stick up for others, and you stand by your friends when it really matters. I can count on you for genuine feedback about how something is going at school. You may not think it's a big deal, but I'm really proud of you for organizing that petition about RBB, as earlier noted by Stamos. And following through with a formal meeting with Miss Hand. It takes a lot to be an organizer, somebody who can rally the troops, someone who has passion to get things done. You've got a strong voice, and you've got strong ideas. All your teachers think that about you. And I know you have what it takes, and you know that it takes a lot of effort to get things done, to be the person in charge. So I hope that you remember that that's something you can do too.
This is okay. All right. Good grief. When I was thinking about what to write for Brady Mogensen, I thought, do I compare him to Charlie Brown? You see, Charlie Brown is described as loyal and determined. He's a true friend and very responsible when it comes to taking care of his dog, Snoopy. But Charlie Brown never gives up. He's kind and patient and wears his heart on his sleeve. He likes helping others. So, do I take these admirable qualities of Charlie Brown and compare them to Brady? Yeah. Brady is loyal and determined. He cares a lot about doing the right thing, even if it means going against friends. He's friendly and polite, and he was persistent and laser-focused on creating an altered mug in Miss Hale's class. He would check in over and over again to keep up on his progress. And even 2 years after not having Mrs. Gingery, he still makes time to touch base with her and give her swimming updates, such as times and progress. Brady's involved with the Bay Club Panthers swim team, and he brought his love of the water to his SIL project. He researched and made a video about the environmental impacts of surfing. I learned a lot. Brady loves his dog, Beau. Not the French Beau, B-E-A-U, but Beau after Bo Jackson, the football/baseball player. He loves him so much that he even took home the actual doghouse used in the play. If that's not a dog lover, I don't know what is. And Brady was voted by his classmates as most likely to be telling dad jokes. Told a pretty good one at the last flag. I thought I would tell a few myself. So here goes. Let me know. I don't trust those trees. They seem kind of shady. Here's one more.
I used to be addicted to soap, but I'm clean now. Pretty good, right? Yeah? Okay. You're a good man, Brady Mogensen, and I wish you the best of luck at Kate. Be yourself, because no one can say you're doing it wrong.
People have a lot to say about Oliver. He's a great role model, said one teacher. A really legitimately cool person, said another. Some noted his specific interest in finance and financial literacy. He even did a social impact and leadership project on this subject. He's also honest. Calls it as he sees it, noted one middle school history teacher. But the most interesting thing I learned in my research is that Oliver wanted to play Macduff in a reenactment of Macbeth since, quote, Macduff kills Macbeth. Beyond this dubious motivation, the more I thought about the connection between Macduff and Oliver, the more apt the comparison became. Now, if you're anything like me, Macbeth is ancient history. Here's a quick Wikipedia refresher. A Scottish general named Macbeth receives a prophecy from three witches that one day he will become king of Scotland. Consumed by ambition and spurred to action by his wife, Macbeth kills King Duncan and takes the Scottish throne for himself. He's then racked with guilt and paranoia. Forced to commit more and more murders to protect himself from enmity and suspicion, he soon becomes a tyrannical ruler. The bloodbath and consequent civil war swiftly take Macbeth and Lady Macbeth into the realms of madness and death. Macduff, who Oliver aspires to be, is a foil to the character of Macbeth. A foil contrasts with and so emphasizes the qualities of another. As I thought more about this, of course, Oliver aspires to contrast with a self-important, paranoid, delusional, tyrannical ruler. Macbeth is hateable and suspicious of everyone. Oliver is likable and trusting. Most importantly, Macduff stands as a symbol of integrity and morality, two things that teachers noted about Oliver in my research. Macduff also acts as a mentor, a teacher, to the younger Malcolm in the play, a role I've seen Oliver play with his peers and younger students. Ultimately, Macduff demonstrates a different kind of leadership, one based on morality and loyalty to a higher cause, rather than pure self-interest, and one based on ethical examination of values rather than on blind faith. So, Oliver, as you head away from us to a new land called high school, we remind you to be Macduff, motivated by your own internal sense of morality and integrity, not swayed by the winds of self-interest. I'll end with this quote from Macduff, from Act 4, Scene 3, line 221. As Macduff was headed to high school. I shall do so, but I must also feel it as a man.
inspiration for his impact project idea this year to make parkour equipment out of recycled plastic. Further research on the environmental implications led him to pivot to examining bamboo as a sustainable materials source and planting it here at Hillbrook to leave as a legacy. Indeed, a member of Hillbrook since kindergarten, Evan has basically grown up here. His teachers over the years have watched him grow and noted things like he's an out-of-the-box thinker, very observant, learns quickly, creative and imaginative, has a great heart, and one note just said cats with an exclamation mark at the bottom. Intellectually, Evan is also active and quick, with a keen mind and a genuine interest in learning. In class, I always had to be on my A game, or Evan would be happy to point out to me any grammar or spelling mistakes I made. Earlier this year, Evan compared himself to fire in his vignette. He wrote, "Consume, grow, shift, waver. We are not so different, the flames and I." Evan, you've grown so much in the short year I've known you. Though as I was looking back at old pictures, I think your hair did get a bit shorter. I wish you nothing but continuing to consume and grow as a learner, a person, and a parkourist. Thank you, I had to look that up, it is a word, parkourist. No wall is too high for you to scale. Congratulations.
After weeks and weeks of grilling me about who is giving her speech, Maya Swanson. Whew, that was rough to keep that a secret. I will never forget my first impression of Maya. So it was my first day of electives at Hillbrook. I was pretty nervous. I had chosen choir because I like a challenge, and I knew that there was going to be some challenges. So as I'm waiting, just really like, ooh, I hope that these kids don't kill me. In opens the door, and Maya blasts herself through, arms open wide with this stance like, look out world, here I come, and announces to me, the star has arrived. Maya, you didn't get it wrong. The star had arrived. And in that one moment, although you probably didn't know this, you solidified my reason for being here. To find stars. You reminded me of me and when I was a star. And you calmed every single one of our nerves. We all had our very first laugh at the very first moment. You have an uncanny ability to do this, to let your light shine brightly, which then allows everyone else's lights to shine brightly. It's this rare combination of confidence, comfortability, a little bit of shyness, willingness, bravery, all topped off with this desire to uplift others. Your wittiness, creativity, and outside-of-the-box thinking has been displayed at Hillbrook since kindergarten. In 5th grade advisory with Ms. Hale, when tasked with creating an advisor name, you vehemently suggested Savage Cabbage. And your 5th grade advisory is going to always be known as Savage Cabbage. When you were asked why you came up with that, you said, I don't know. It just seemed funny, like an angry cabbage. And this is one thing I love about you, Maya, is that your sense of humor has absolutely no bounds. I would also be remiss if I did not mention your Wordle playing. As you wrote in Mr. Stamos' yearbook, I am a better Wordle player than you, and we all know it's true. Maya, you've been at Hillbrook since kindergarten, and that in and of itself is a huge accomplishment. I suppose in some ways that being at school for that long, you could have gotten into a rut, but you didn't. Last December, in a reflection in Ms. De Palma's class you showed how much you push yourself by writing. After I took my first step, I started to regain my confidence. I realized that all I needed to do was trust myself. I was still on high alert, but instead of fear running through my body, adrenaline took its place. Sure-footed, I trusted myself enough to let go of the ropes with both hands, and excitement shot through me. I carry this lesson with me today, and am always reminding myself to have faith in my abilities. When I was casting the musical, I pretty much knew that you would be the perfect Sally Brown. As you bantered with the teacher, you gave us all a run for our money and a pretty big reality check, and you showed us that you had arrived, Maya. What I'm trying to say is that I think you found yourself a little bit more when you played Sally Brown. You gave voice to this passion inside of you, and you found a place to put your off-the-charts energy. It was fun to watch you embrace this. My favorite author, Frank Kafka, wrote, "First impressions are unreliable." And though I usually agree with him, this time he was totally wrong. Maya, just like you said on that first day of school, you are a star. Whether it's on stage, in class, giving someone advice about life, anything you're doing, you are a star. No matter where life takes you, let it shine. And I guarantee you the world will shine right back at you.
Soraya.
Oh, Soraya, how has this moment already arrived? I feel like it was just yesterday I was arriving at Hillbrook and learning about the amazing Johansson siblings and all of their goodness in the world. Your reputation was only surpassed by getting to see the Changemaker magic happen in person that fall. Soraya, as so many of your teachers noted, you have been a changemaker from the moment you walked onto campus. Miss O'Connell, Miss Blum, Miss Lee, Miss Long, all talk about your activism in class and your kindness to your classmates and motivation to help others see themselves as change makers too. Miss Blum remembers you as a big thinker and question asker. Soraya asks such fun questions. For her Skywatchers inquiry project, she chose to investigate our solar system and asked with such deep interest over and over, so how do those stars stay in the sky? Miss Long remembers what a loyal friend and sibling you were. Miss Lee remembered so vividly how already in second grade, you were a mover and shaker, talking about animal rights and activism with such strong conviction, inspiring so many others to join you. This passion has only grown deeper in your middle school years. Soraya is an excellent student, serious about her studies, thoughtful about her learning and leadership, and endlessly determined to be her best in all that she does in and out of the classroom. From Model UN to weekend speech and debate competitions to summer adventures in Sweden, Soraya has an ease and confidence about her leadership that others, especially myself, are so drawn to. She combines joy and activism in a seamless and thoughtful way that brings people together in meaningful ways time and time again. I will never forget working with Soraya on her Taste of Home project that she designed and led this fall. She executed the Taste of Home plan with such acute leadership skills, guiding more than 50 volunteers at the amphitheater that afternoon, a mix of friends, classmates, JK buddies, board members, parents, and teachers, all looking to Soraya for direction and guidance. I saw that day what I and so many others here at Hillbrook have come to so deeply admire about Soraya. She is a girl with a plan and the will to make it happen. As one parent shared at the SIL Summit recently, whatever company Soraya starts, I want to be investor number one because that girl is going to do big things and I want to be sure I am along for the ride. Soraya, you have left a changemaker legacy here at Hillbrook. While the projects and activism you brought to the school is noteworthy and noble in and of itself, It is your ability to bring others into your work and leadership that has left such a mark of kindness, compassion, and social impact at the school. Just today in first grade, a student among lists of amazing changemakers, Jane Goodall, Greta Thunberg, Soraya was a name that several students listed as their favorite changemaker. I have no doubt we will see renditions of Taste of Home, Nowruz celebrations, and refugee activism with your mark all over them for years to come. You are a force of brilliance the world needs now more than ever. Thank you for sharing so much of yourself with us for so many wonderful years here at Hillbrook. We can't wait to be your biggest cheerleaders here and at the Scott Center and all that you do in high school and beyond. Congratulations.
All right, for those of you counting, that was 33. And I think this is the last time that we can say one more big round of applause for our 8th graders. We are so lucky that this group of young people up here represents our community, and it was such a delight to get to hear about how special each and every one of them are tonight. My heart feels very full. I'm sure that yours do too. It's hard to believe that there is more tomorrow to celebrate, but there is. So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning here on campus, and we hope you enjoy this evening's celebration. Good night.